Hi, my name's Toby. Welcome to Mash In, your North Texas beer podcast, sponsored by Harvest Seasonal Kitchen in downtown McKinney. Talk about shameless plugging.
There you go.
Yes.
McKinney's first brew pub. My name is Toby.
And my name's Bob.
We're here today with the guys at Tupps, and we got Keith and Chris Lewis. Keith, why don't you tell us what your job here is at Tupps, your title, as it were?
Well, I guess official title is president and owner. Job is whatever nobody else wants to do.
Feel that?
You know, it's interesting business because it's all about beer, but also you have to make payroll. So somehow we have to find out how to count the beans, and I do a bunch of that.
You do a bunch of that.
Right.
Cool. So, Chris, tell us what your kind of title and role is. I'm just going to assume that it probably doesn't have a lot to do with mathematics.
No, a little bit. But head brewer, so I create the recipes and make sure everything gets brewed on time. Yeah.
Awesome. Run production and brewery schedule and all that kind of stuff. So very cool. So I guess the first thing we should talk about is, what is the Tupps story? Why did a dad and his sons and daughter, and why did you guys all get into this 4 or 5 years ago? What was the initial start of that?
Well, I guess I have my wife to blame for this because
That's usually the case.
Yeah, one Christmas I asked for a home brew kit. So sure enough, Santa Claus brought me a home brew kit, and I opened it up, and I had no idea what to do with all the stuff that was in there. So I went to work, and I was talking to one of the guys I work with, whose name is Tupper, who's my partner now in the business. And I told him, I said, hey, I got this box, and he's like, don't worry about it. I got a book on how to brew beer. So for, a couple of years, we kind of fumbled around in the kitchen and figuring all this stuff out. And then we bought basically a 20-gallon pilot system that we found online, surfing the internet in a meeting at work, and then we were hooked because we could really roll it out on the driveway, and we could brew 20 gallons at a time, and every weekend we were doing it. And then I've got 3 kids, and so they would all come over and participate in the process, and all 3 of them just really dug it. So and then after just getting really, really into the beer scene and really going out and looking at other breweries and everything, and kind of scratched my head, and I thought, maybe we can do this. I think we can make this work. So kind of one thing led to another, and we did it.
How long ago was that when you got you and Tupper were starting that brewing
How
kit?
old was Chris at the time?
We did that about 4 years. So Chris would have been in his late 20s, mid late 20s, and so all 3 kids were of drinking age, because when you're brewing 20 gallons of beer, a week, Tupper and I couldn't drink that much, so that was part of it. We probably did that about 4 years, and then we opened the brewery in 2015. Took half of 2014 to build it and get everything going, and then we've been swinging at it now. Open to the public about 3.5. So our birthday's in May.
So, Chris, what was your, when you're in your 20s and dad's brewing beer, what was your career path of choice at the time?
I owned a small little landscape company. So I worked for real estate agents getting homes ready for sale. So on the weekends I would go up and help them brew, and then we decided to open the brewery, and it was like, hell yeah, I'll quit my job. So,
yeah, I'll stop mowing yards to brew beer.
Yeah.
So it's not so bad. You still have to deal with the elements a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's not super warm in here. I imagine it gets fairly hot in the summertime.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Especially on the brew stand. It gets, last summer the highest it got was 127 degrees on the brew stand.
How does that affect your brewing? How does that affect, is your system pretty well controlled?
Yeah, it's all well controlled.
It doesn't make anything harder to cool down, harder to cool your wort, harder
the
to
winter
get things
it's
up?
tough. It takes longer to heat stuff up, and then if you crack rain the day before, it's in the grist case at 29 degrees this morning, so temperature has to be a little bit higher to get your right temperatures like that. But other than that, it's all really the same.
So when you guys first decided to open up, what was your, I'm assuming the name comes from Tupper, right? How did you guys kind of decide that? What were some other names you had before Tupps, if there were any? Was it always Tupps? Did you guys always have a good plan, and you're like, 4 years from now, we're going to brew 5,000 barrels, and we're going to make an amazing hazy IPA, and everything just was perfect?
No, there was no grand vision like that, and it was really just getting together. And when you do home brewing, you kind of get into the scene, and other home brewers, and then they have competitions, so we would enter the competitions. Well, when you enter those competitions, you have to have a name for your for your brewery or a name for your club, whatever it is. So, we just spur of the moment, we just picked Tupps, and just thought it sounded, you can't have it be Keith's or Lewis, so Tupps stuck, and we had a cool logo we thought done, and then when we decided to actually open the brewery, it was like Tupper's like, so what are we going to call it? And I'm like, Tupps. I mean, that cat's out of the bag. So
we had like 300 Facebook followers. We're like, oh, we got to keep this going.
Yeah, we got critical mass.
What's your Facebook follower count now?
A little over 13,000. So.
Yeah.
So you're good.
Yeah.
So good.
Needed that 300.
Needed that 300 to get started.
Good start.
Yeah.
You did though, right? That's how you build up a little bit of that Tupps cult-like fan base that I feel like you see around town a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's it like running a business as a family? So maybe kind of break it down, because Chase, your brother, works here. Your sister also does, and your daughter does events in the tap room.
Right.
What is kind of everybody's role?
Well, I mean, it actually has worked out really, really great because, Chris, who's, gregarious, and he's the guy who I thought would be out, selling. He just took to the brew process, and he just loved that. And so he's focused inside doing the brewery, but he also will make trips out to the field, to talk to, potential customers and everything, and do the face kind of the brew side out. But then Katie, my daughter, she does all the marketing. So she does, the websites and the tap room, and she keeps all of us organized, step by step of what it takes to get a beer from liquid, at retail, and artwork, and manages all the art departments, all that kind of stuff. And then Chase is responsible for overall sales, and recently now he's jumped back in, and he has overall responsibility for finance. So he's a, MBA finance dude, worked for JP Morgan, and so he was perfect fit to come in and do that kind of an operation mindset, finance, and then loves the sales side of it as well. So with everybody with three distinct disciplines, it really helps, and that nobody's stepping on anybody. Everybody has to work together, but it's a really good fit. And we've been doing this for 4 years, and nobody's killed each other. So
was your daughter always the creative one? Did she go to school or?
Yeah, she went to school and got her degree in marketing. Yeah,
okay.
So she had marketing, Chase with finance, and then Chris kind of the entrepreneurial side and the brewing side. So.
Cool.
So it feels kind of like you're Joe Jackson, and you have trained all your kids since birth to be the super brewery team, and you will not fail. Now, so I marked earlier to you that you guys all work together as a family all day. And every time I see you, which of course is a lot of times at the restaurant or here, there's beer involved, or it's meat fight or something like that, but you're always having fun. You guys are always smiling. You guys never seem, I'm sure there are stressful moments, but you guys never seem stressed out at all, like you just got it all figured out. So what do you think that as a family and maintaining that time, because you've got how many grandkids now?
5.
You got 5 grandkids. Everybody's got young kids at the brewery. So, I mean, this is much more than a place to brew beer for you guys' family, man. This is like second home. This is like the lake house, but it's like the beer house, So what are kind of what do you think is important? What do you think are some struggles kind of running this thing as a family and kind of keeping that mindset too while still running a business?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, working and especially in a startup, I mean, it is very stressful. I mean, this business is very capital intensive, so there's a lot of money in it. We believe, and we are a family with the family members in it, but we feel that everybody else that's in the company are like family members. A couple of salespeople even call me dad. So we try to take care of everybody. We've got, salaries and benefits and all that kind of stuff. So, but the responsibility of running a business where you actually have to generate positive cash to make payroll is a big responsibility. And really, I'd give credit to all 3 of the kids, where they've all risen to the occasion. They've all taken huge sacrifices. I mean, in some cases, they're making 25-30% of what they made in their other jobs. So this is for the love of the business. This is why they do what they do. And someday, the baton is passed, but we're on a really good, path right now. And everybody seems to be really working well together.
When you guys were home brewing and kind of going to these competitions, what's the best advice you received? Was there anybody, other brewers, or anything that kind of like helped you out? Was everybody kind of,
what can I learn from you?
Here comes another, home brewer trying to start a brewery. What was?
I think that was the mentality in the beginning.
Yeah, but the strange thing is that I came from the high tech world in the semiconductor business, and I mean, you couldn't even go into a conference room with your competitor without a team of lawyers in there, and it's just it's unfortunate. But in the beer business, it's the exact opposite. I mean, everybody shares ideas. We share raw materials. We trade stuff, somebody needs something overnight, we just run down and drop it off. And once a month, all the brewers get together as a guild member and we talk about issues and potential solutions. So the whole business is completely different, and it's just it's a great business. Now, best advice, what's crazy is that when you open a brewery, you put a business plan together, and in that business plan says you need X dollars to start the business. And when I showed the business plan to people, they would say, triple that amount of money. And I'm like, oh God, if I had to triple it, I would never do it. It's just too much. But I need to do it because we got it in there now. So I'm kind of glad I didn't take their advice, but maybe I should have, but it worked, so we got a great team of investors, and they probably were more savvy in what it takes to get in. And when we went back for our first another ask, they were like, we knew this was coming, which was nice to hear. It wasn't, what are you guys, a bunch of idiots? So I'm really pleased with the group of people we've got, and I think that so far everything's worked out great, and the sky's the limit. So.
Sure. So what led you guys down to, as we're drinking delicious, juicy, hazy IPAs, what led you guys to that path? What made you think, I feel like you guys are kind of killing that IPA and haze game, and I felt like you had it. And I don't know if I need to remind you guys that Harvest was the first place to ever have you guys attend.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what the innovative bar manager decided to do it.
Yeah, we'll not know.
But I've loved you guys' IPA from the beginning. It's what I drink pretty much every day. And I love the hazy IPAs. And I've always loved the aromatics aspect of hops, kind of more than the bittering one. So what made you guys go down that path and just say, this year we're just going to kill this part of the game?
Well, I think it's, you start out, and when you're a home brewer and you're looking up recipes and you're developing stuff, it's all West Coast IPAs, and that's where most people are, that's where a lot of home brewers are into. And then that's what we had at the beginning. Our Tupps IPA was a super resiny West Coast all Centennial IPA. And anytime we ever tweaked that recipe, it seemed like it sold better the cleaner it got. So you took the crystal malt out, and it's like, oh, this is crisper and it's not as malty. And then you start adding hops later, and you're like, oh, this is not as bitter, it's more floral. And then we just did a full rebrand, and our current IPA is pretty much like a New England style IPA, except it's not hazy. So, but late addition hops, no bittering hops, just an easy drinking beer. And that's where people want that, and obviously the sales speak for themselves. But, and then to take it a step further, this New England style IPA with the hazy stuff is just really catching on. So we tried it, and it went really well. And so we just kept doing it, and it's killing it. So,
I think the only thing I would add is that I guess it was about a year ago you and Chase went to Oregon. So they actually hopped on a plane, flew up there, and toured all the hop farms, and super geeked out.
It was awesome.
On what hops can do, and how different techniques can be used, and that really kind of started us thinking about how do you innovate constantly. And I think if it was left up to Tupper and I just to kind of brew beer, we would just be brewing the same damn thing we did 4 years ago, and it's like boring. But
you have to innovate.
Yeah, and I give these guys credit because they went out and they found different things and tried different things, and pilot batches and came up with things that were a little unique. And
some-
I mean, we kind of do it to ourselves. I mean, even the double dry hop, right now we're on series 5, and I think we've got series 12, 13 planned out. So it's pretty insane. And every, from a marketing standpoint, every series has a different label on it. Every series has a different hop mix. So
Same base beer, but
yeah, this is like innovation on steroids almost.
So you guys went to the right place up in Portland, up in Oregon. My daughter's going to school up there. They've got some great IPAs up there.
Yeah.
You guys really went to the heart of the
I think when these guys went up to look, they overconsumed. So they
Really?
sampled quite
I would not.
Research
Yeah.
and development
Yeah,
is
yeah.
key component of innovation. So I actually had that written down to ask about because I remember you guys going to that, and I saw you right after you got back and came up to eat at the restaurant. And it seems like that trip, you know what I mean, really kind of set some ideas off for you guys. I mean, was it just kind of like walking through 20-foot tall hop stalks and being just like...
Well, and I think the big thing is they say, okay, these are hops that you know about, Mosaic, Citra, Amarillo, or whatever. And you're like, okay, cool, smelled those before, used those before. And then they're like, well, this is hop experimental 6224678. And you're like, ooh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so then you smell that and you're like, oh, it's like vanilla and cherry. And you're like, well, that's weird. Never smelled anything like that before. So then we're like, okay, we need to be able to rotate this hop series. So that's what kind of gave us the idea for DDH when we were out there. So then we came back and we were like, hey, we need to get a labeler. And to have flexibility, if a new hop comes out, an experimental hop, we're able to order that hop, get it in a batch, and have a label and everything in like a month. So you can have it. So like lead time on a lot of these things is pretty deep. So the labeler gave us the flexibility to do a rotating hop series, and so that's what DDH has kind of turned into. But yeah, going out there and going to a bunch of brew pubs, and big breweries, and trying all this beer, it's different. Here we're behind. DFW is definitely behind, and it's almost a good thing that we're probably going to skip the whole West Coast IPA love thing here. If you think about it, it's so because people don't like bitter beer. Majority of people don't, and but this stuff's not bitter. It's hazy. You get all the good stuff from the hops, the floral, and but it's not bitter.
So are you guys able to buy it straight from the farm?
Yeah,
You guys are.
I mean, there's distributors that we use that are up there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, their family, their relatives own those farms. So
Cool.
that was kind of cool to get to touring them.
When you're dealing directly with, say, the hop farmer, what does that look like as far as how you can plan off these releases? So obviously it takes a lot of planning, timing, marketing, all this stuff to releasing these beers, and it seems like you were saying, you have to be innovative. You have to keep having something new come out, and as the industry is growing, different things are coming about. There's different innovations in different places. There's Texas Malt. There's hop number 2468-1 that doesn't have a name yet. What does that look like in kind of an industry where you're set up on hop contracts, and how do you get that sort of freedom to move about? And
So our juice pack, that has the same hops as our IPA does. And so that's the kind of stuff that contracts come in mind. And you need that stuff because you get up, we're going to do 5,000 barrels this year, and it's a lot for us, right? It's awesome. And so when you get up to that range, you have to have these hop contracts. You have to be able to get availability in hops. But the cool thing about DDH is you create a new hop build every time. And the amount you're buying is if you can't get it, then you change it to something else. So and you're only ordering a certain amount each month. So we release a new one each month, and so that's something you don't really need to worry about contracts with. But some of the other stuff, it's been a situation lately.
we have all this beer on the table. We should probably talk about it a little bit as we've skimmed over
We
some
have
of it.
been.
What are we drinking right now?
This is the juice pack.
So this is the juice pack. So tell us exactly what's in the juice pack and kind of.
So it's a hazy pale ale. It's 5.5%. It's Citra, Mosaic, and Eldorado are the hops. So stone fruit, juicy hops. All late edition hop editions, and big dry hop. But this has as much hops as our IPA, and it's a hazy pale ale. So
It's awfully good.
yeah, low bitter, easy to drink.
When did this hit the market?
A month ago.
Yeah,
About a month ago.
Yeah,
How's it
right,
been
a month
doing?
ago. liquidated. Yeah.
Can't keep it.
We have Benny Keith as our distributor in Dallas, so we brewed all the beer and they picked it up. Had a couple 18-wheelers out here, loaded it in, gone, hit their warehouse, gone.
Awesome.
So we're also in Austin. This beer hit Austin, and I think they picked it up on a Sunday because they knew they wanted to. There was a big competition who gets to market first, so they picked it up on Sunday. On Monday, it was all delivered. So really, really good. Reception to Juice Pack, which has really helped by the success we had with DDH.
So let's talk to DDH. What does DDH stand for those
Double
not
dry
know?
hop.
Double dry hop. What does that mean?
So it means you're dry hopping twice. And the first time you dry hop during fermentation. So about 50-60% of fermentation, you add the first half of the dry hop, and there's a thing called biotransformation that happens with the yeast, active yeast, and reacts with the hops, and it just explodes that flavor. So, and then when you dry hop a second time, for different floral, presence in the hops. So, yeah.
So for those? What's the difference between a hazy IPA and a regular IPA? What's different in that process?
So DDH, it's a combination of the water profile. You need soft water, and then it's a combination of water profile, the grain bill. You have to have a lot of protein in your grain, and then when you add the hops. So that's a big deal.
So you're on your 5th series now. Is the Series 5 hit the market yet?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's all gone.
And it's all gone.
It's all gone.
Thanks.
Thanks, I
guys.
bought a 6-pack just the other day.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah, and when we say
Pretty
all
good.
gone, I guess we mean it's left Tupps and it's left our distributors.
Right,
You can still
exactly.
buy it
So
in
it's
stores.
at
in
retail,
stores.
yeah.
It's in stores.
But it goes fast. So you'll find a lot of retailers. Like I was just at the Whole Foods off Stacy Road in Fairview, and they actually had a 10 stack of both juice pack and double dry hop. So a lot of the retailers now are kind of anticipating. Put a good case stack, gets picked down, and then they'll wait for the next series and next series.
I feel like, go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say, so with the juice pack, do you expect sales in the summer to increase any?
Juice pack, definitely. Yeah,
Because that's
definitely.
a summer. I mean, I'm tasting this right now. I mean,
Yeah.
that is a summer beer.
It's light, easy drinking, goes
Very,
down,
yeah.
goes down too easy.
So you're going to have to keep up, son.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I feel like we should taste the DDH Series 5 right now,
Yeah.
since I've never had it, and you guys didn't, give me the harvest sense that we did.
You can buy it.
But we should, can we get a couple more cups?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
Let me go help.
All right, so we got a couple of the double dry hop Series 5. So Chris, why don't you break us down on the hops that are in this one? And
Series 5, it's kind of funny. These are Citra, Mosaic, and Eldorado. So the same hops as these guys. We did the first series we did was Citra, Mosaic, and Galaxy. And we've had a lot of problems finding Galaxy since then, and enough to the quantity that we can put in this beer. So, but Eldorado, that hop build is similar to our Series 1 and Series 2 hop build. So a lot of people are asking for Series 2. They love that one, and they're all great. But so that's why we kind of did this guy right here, Citra, Mosaic, and Eldorado.
no, go ahead.
I was saying same grain bill goes into all the DDHs, so same yeast, same water profile, same mash temperatures, everything's the same except just the hops are different.
So have you had some like very passionate fans that are like, bro, Series 2?
Yeah, all the time, weekly. People are just like, oh, what if it's not Series 2, then I don't want it. And of course, then they're posting videos of them drinking this beer, or Series 5, Series 3, whatever, in hours. So, no, it's gone really well, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see it. So, I guess the next thing for DDH is Series 6. We're doing a soured peach DDH.
Really?
So that's going to be really good. And the next one after that will be a raspberry milkshake IPA DDH.
That'd be interesting. See, I've never been big on sour beers until I met Toby, and he's actually given me a few that are pretty darn good.
Yeah.
To me, it's sour. I mean, my daughter used to give me Skittles sour stuff. I'm like, no, get that away from me.
Yeah.
But in the sour beers, when you do them right, they're good. Sometimes they're not always done right.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, Dennis from Franconia and I give him crap about this all the time, but he was like, why would you want a sour beer? He's like, you don't nobody sells sour milk, and I was like, sour milk's great. It's sour cream. You put it on tacos. It's delicious. It's so good. So cool, man. Sour peach coming out. When can we expect that to kind of show its face in the market?
I think we're canning it next week. So
Awesome.
maybe the third week in December it'll come out.
Cool. So you guys have just been, just killing the IPA game and the hop game and all that kind of stuff. What was we talked a little bit about it, but what was your kind of philosophy going in as opposed to what it is now? What's your kind of company mission goal, as a brewery? What did you want to accomplish? What did you, kind of see yourself accomplishing then? And, how has that changed over the years?
Well, in the beginning, we had one primary goal was to get open.
Yeah.
And that was a tough hill to climb, but we pulled that one off. And in the beginning, we kind of checked all the boxes. We had an IPA, as Chris was saying. It was a single hop Centennial IPA, and then we moved on to a pale ale, and then we had a wheat beer that we brought into the line, and then we had a pale ale which was infused with fire roasted poblano peppers. And that was Northbound 75. A lot of people dug that one, and then we did a black ale, and that was kind of a sweet stout. So we had those running for, I guess, the first year and a half. We did well with those products, but when anything in that portfolio takes off like crazy, like our IPA did, you run out of tanks. So we had to let some of these other ones dwindle, and we favored, IPA. To free up some space, and then we started buying new tanks, and then other beers came in that were super popular, like DDH and juice packs. So I think every brewery over a course of 2 or 3 years kind of finds its home and finds its sweet spot. The other outliner in this thing is our Full Grown Man series. So we've got all these IPAs, but we have an imperial stout beer that is off the charts, thick and juicy and high alcohol content. And then we also have variants of that with coconut and peppers and all sorts of crazy stuff in it. So you'll find the same with DDH as with Full Grown Man, where we'll have the base beer, and then you have all sorts of things that get added to
so you
it.
guys had the full grown Jack around Halloween, and you have the full grown Nick coming on. What's all in that beer?
That's a gingerbread beer.
So this year's gingerbread. We changed the spices up this year. Last year we did mold spices and holiday cake spices, and it tasted very similar to Jack. So we're like, oh crap, And so we went back to the drawing board. We added a bunch of ground clove, and it just took the spice level over the top. It just one can you open up in a room, it's like Christmas. So we kind of toned it down from that. So this year we did gingerbread spices, which is a lot more approachable, and we've already seen the sales increase on that. I mean, it's hard to keep the keg in the tap room, so that's done really well. But then this year, so we did 4 variants of Full Grown Man. It was Jack, the Nick, Scallywag, which is a coconut vanilla imperial stout, and then Ombre, which is ancho chilies, vanilla, coffee, and chocolate. So this year we're going to do more. So everyone needs to keep their eyes peeled for that.
Can you let us in on what some of those variants are going to be, or do you want to keep that under your hat for now?
I don't care.
Roll it.
So we're going to do a full-grown woodsman, which is going to be like a maple syrup. So like that really thick maple syrup that, I don't know what that flavor would be, but just that really natural, when you buy like a natural maple syrup, bottle. So that. And then we're going to do a full-grown chocolatier, which is
Chris's favorite.
Yeah. Raspberry chocolate, full-grown man. And then we're doing, oh gosh. Did we decide on peanut butter?
I think that one got nixed.
Yeah.
Peanut butter's always good though.
And we have barrel aged.
Barrel aged, yeah.
Full grown. So
we're about to release. So in January we'll release our barrel aged full grown man and Iron Root.
Oh yeah.
Bourbon barrels.
Awesome.
And then early February is the wine barrel aged from Eden Hill. We got red wine barrels from Eden Hill. We put full grown man in there. So the barrel aged full grown man, the bourbon barrel aged full grown man, that's going to be a small run, 150, 200 cases. and then the wine barrel age, that's like 30 barrel batch. So there's a lot of barrels. So we'll be able to distribute that quite widely. So.
Well, are you guys going to release those in cans, keg only? You can do large format bottles, or what are you kind of?
Do the large format bottles in the bourbon barrel aged, and then the red wine will be in cans, 4-pack cans.
Awesome.
So the full-grown man is very good. Now, you guys got plans on entering that in competitions?
We enter that every year into competitions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean GABF and the World Beer Cup, all that stuff. It always does okay. You know, you get good comments.
Right.
So many entries.
So what does it think it takes to put it one more over the top? 'Cause I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things. It's like if you've ever entered, cooking competition, barbecue competitions. Who knows why the scores are the way they are?
Right.
So the good news is that we did really well in TDH and at GABF, and then the local, the Texas, the awards, the Best Little Beer Fest in Texas.
Right.
We've got a whole stack of awards on the wall from that deal from every single year. It started off, we'd only been in the business 3 months, I think, and we won Best in Show and a gold medal for our pale ale. So I mean that really got us stoked. So
Yeah, really.
and then every year these things they do well there.
So when you said the DDH did well at Great American Beer Fest, so what did you
Really
guys
well.
take home there?
We didn't.
It tested really well.
It did, and you get a report back, and you say how many levels it went through
Yeah.
the competition. The number one category that was entered this year was New England IPAs.
Sure. So,
it was the most competitive.
Almost 500 entries.
Yeah, we were
It's the
pleased.
first year that they've had that category, right?
Yep. So last year IPA was the biggest one. That was like 400 something, and then pale ales are number 2, and then this year it was hazy IPAs, hazy pales, IPAs. So it's all IPAs, and on our scorecard it said we got to the final table. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And you never know. You don't know if you're 4th place or 40th place. So
So I'm a new brewer, just out of curiosity. What's it take to take something to a competition? I mean, how much do you need to take with you?
Oh, like how do you enter?
Yeah,
Or,
how do you go through
Fill
that
the form out and
process?
put about 12 cans in a box.
12 cans, that's all it takes?
And write a check.
Yeah, and that's the most important.
That's
That's
about it.
Rick's job.
Yep.
Yeah, they're pretty easy to enter, and that's why a lot of people do it. And
Yes, yeah,
every
I was-
brewery wants that, hey, I want an award. So
Yeah, I was curious whether you needed to take kegs with you or, because obviously
you
I'm not at
can.
that point yet, but
You can be a part of it, and you can be a, what are they called, a server brewer or whatever, and you can bring kegs up there to Colorado and serve at the Great American Beer Festival. But we did that the first year. We were all jazzed about it. We thought we were going to win 1 million awards because we did really well. And we went up there, and my wife and I, who was my fiance at the time, we sat in that award ceremony, and just every award, I was like, "Is this the one we entered?" Oh, I think so, and didn't win.
I think the only thing we came back with is a grandchild.
there you go.
That's important. That's a
That's
pretty
a
good
good
award.
thing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
good
good
thing.
award. So, going on to that, you guys obviously having a lot of success with your Full Grown Man, your IPAs, and even your tap room. You guys have a huge tap room following on the weekends and at night. There's had to be a time over the last 4 years where you were just like, oh man, this was a mistake. Like, we should not have done this. Like, was that ever coming to your mind, or is it just kind of like, hands down, not even thinking about that, just brewing, selling, and working,
I think not thinking about it.
Yeah,
Me
we've always
personally.
we've always had a spirit of just make it happen. I mean, we kind of believe that there are no rules in this thing. I mean, all you just work hard and keep working hard and keep working hard, and it just comes your way. I think you have to invest your time in areas that feel good to you, that kind of is your soul and your spirit. So when you walk in here and you look around at this place, it's weird, it's different, it's us.
You got to pinch yourself every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because you look, we can get into it, and I'll just go over to my parents' house for dinner, right? Which was this guy, and and you're like talking about work, and you can kind of get like, oh, well, this should be like this should be like that, and it's like take a step back and just pinch yourself and say, well, look at where we've come, and look where we are. It's amazing, So
And there are people that you meet, you know, in the beer business that are totally unlike the people you meet in, I guess, you know, the real world, corporate America, and you know, you meet people who have the same, you know, thoughts and spirits, and you know, we've aligned ourselves with a lot of activities in the community, and the community that we work and live in is really important to us. So we're super invested in McKinney. We're super invested in North Texas, and now we've branched out, and we're doing a lot of crazy things in Austin, and Chase is up in Oklahoma right now. We're lighting up the Oklahoma market. So, but each one of those markets are not places we just send trucks and drop beer off. Those are markets that we go there, and we go there seriously. We put a rep in, and we really invest in a success plan to make it happen.
So I can't tell you how many stories I have, especially the first year you guys were open. People come in and say, "Hey, have you been at the Tupps place, man? I just popped in there and was like, can I buy a beer?" And they were like, "No, but I can give you one." You know, and I think that's a good example of how you guys handle relationships, because any industry, I feel like that's just what it's kind of about. Is relationships, how you deal with people. Do you think that sort of philosophy and your commitment to your community, you guys are in every parade, I feel like you guys are in every festival.
Yep.
Anytime we've had a charity event, you guys have been right there donating beer. You do a lot in the brewery for nonprofits. You participate in Meat Fight. I mean, you guys are just working around the clock, you know.
Yeah.
But do you feel like that's just ingrained in you to be involved in that way, and there's just really kind of no other way to go about it, and it wasn't even thought? Or again, was it a part of your evil, maniacal grandmaster plan of everything that worked out perfectly over the last 4 years?
No, I don't think it was part of an overall, you know, plan. It was not intentional. It just felt good. It felt like the right thing to do. And I mean, the craft beer business, you know, people will say all that matters is what's in the glass, and I understand why they say that, but I also believe that it matters more. There's more to it. You know, there is connecting with the community, you know, connecting with your customers, making sure your customers have fun. You know, here it's the music, it's the ambiance, it's the food that we have here with the food trucks that we have, it's the festivals that we pull off. It's everything. You got to check all the boxes, I think. And if you believe in the business and it feels right, it just happens. So.
Yeah, so I'm one of those first people that came in here. That's where I first met you. Came over here and you gave us some samples of the Poblano IPA, and I think there were 3 of us in here at the time, and you weren't selling. We were putting in money into the tip jar. And you let us try them. I mean, there were like two versions, I think. And it's like, man, this place is cool. Been coming back ever since.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually brewing beer. So
Right.
life is good, right?
And so, yeah, I mean, I just feel like little things like that, man, have just like given you guys legions of fans and relationships and loyalty. I mean, you see it in the restaurant all the time with the servers and the bartender and how they talk about you guys. Because they talk about you like they know you. Of course they do, because Chris eats 20 cheeseburgers a week probably.
That's because he's doing our kegs for us.
He told me he wanted a turkey sandwich today. I was like, okay. Sure. It's a
good sandwich.
It is a good sandwich. Shameless plug. So another thing you guys are doing that I think is pretty cool that not a lot of people know about, but you're one of the few breweries kind of in North Texas that is doing this collaboration with Sierra Nevada. I want you to tell us a little bit about what that's about exactly and how everybody can get their hands on it.
Well, when I heard about that, I mean, it resonated with me because when you see what's happened in California, it's insane that you know that the fire can have such an impact on that many people's lives. So then when they talked about doing this beer and they wanted everybody to do it, I mean, I wanted to double down on it. I wanted to do a 60, 120 barrel batch, and let's pound it out, sell it to all the bars, see how much money we can raise. And then it was kind of like, well, hey, we kind of want this to be tap room only stuff. So
they're going to release it.
Yeah, they're going to release it and go big time. So all right, that's cool. So we're going to do a couple pilot batches of it, and we'll have it available in the tap room.
So when's that going to be ready?
Well, that's one of the problems. Is it's so it's such a good thing to do, but how do you fit something like that in when you are just balls out?
Right.
So It's probably in a week and a half where we can get it brewed. We get it in, so we're 2-3 weeks after that.
Okay.
You know, we're probably looking realistically January before we can get our version out. I know several other ones might be out sooner, but we'll do our contribution and raise some money for a great cause.
It's awesome.
So it's just to fill everybody in a little bit. So I understand probably they kind of sent this recipe out to different brewers.
Right.
Did you guys buying all the grain, using your own grain? Is it time? Are they
I have everything in stock, so we're probably not even gonna.
mess with that?
Yeah, we're just gonna
brew it
and give them money.
and give them money and take it. So
Yeah, the suppliers that make the grain and the hops and the yeast, they're willing to donate that, which is incredibly generous. So, but yeah, we've got the stuff, and we'll just have it as a taproom release only, and help out.
cool. So what's 2019 look like for Tupps? So you guys have any events coming up in the tap room? We talked about a little bit of different full-grown Nick recipes or full-grown man recipes that you guys are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's not a pretty well depicted lumberjack Chris on the full-grown lumberjack, I'll be silent.
I want to see that logo.
Protest. Yeah.
I'll silent protest. I need his boots with shorts on.
Well,
maybe a flannel.
well, one beer that we haven't talked about, which will be released in a few weeks, is a kind of a more approachable, full-grown man.
Okay.
And it's modeled after Chris, called Man-Child.
My son.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it's a little bit less in alcohol. It's what, eight
and a half.
8.5. So we've got that coming out, and that'll roll into 2019. Obviously, the DD8 series continues to go. Juice Pack should be a big winner, I think, for us as we roll through the year. And we're toying with a couple other beers for the summer that are real easy drinking, kind of lighter beers, which would be kind of interesting. For us, I mean, it's continuing to round out the production facility. We've had 3 distinct expansions so far. So, we kind of want things to settle out a little bit. It seems like every year we 2 to 3x our volume. So we'll finish this year a little over 5,000 barrels. I think next year, we're looking at 7.5, something in that range.
You guys finished around 3 last year?
Yeah.
You've almost come close to doubling this year. What do you think that was for? Or what do you attribute that to? Just kind of natural?
Well, it's IPA has just gone crazy, and then the DD8 series, has been really, really strong. And then with Juice Pack, so all those have we're playing catch up. And we talked about other beers like a Northbound 75, the Polano beer, the Black Ale. Those are beers we had to actually pull out of the portfolio because we just didn't have tanks to brew them. They were good beers, they had good volume. Now it's time to maybe move some of those things back in for particular parts throughout the year. So
you've got a bunch of equipment around here. This is all new,
Yeah.
waiting to be installed. What are you guys upgrading to? Is it more capacity thing? You guys?
Capacity.
Yeah.
And new brew house.
Yeah, so we got a new brew house, so that new brew house should allow us to turn beers faster. They're
Chris
slightly
Ward.
bigger, so we get better yield out of them. But the real difference maker are the fermenters. So we got 3 new 60-barrel fermenters that are hanging out, ready to go online. They should be in about 2 weeks up and running online. And then we've got 3 more planned for the first quarter of 2019 to kind of keep up with the demand. But we went from 360s and 230s in the very, very beginning. We added 3 more 60s, another fermenter, and then we added 120-barrel bright. And now we're adding these 3 more. So, the question too is that what do you want to be when you grow up? How big you want to be? The bigger you get, harder to maintain the soul. So we're kind of looking at that now. I think we got a pretty good idea of what we want to do. So we're pretty happy with the path we're on, and I think 2019 will be kind of our, maybe a level set year where we're going to really hit our happy zone.
You guys getting over to a new brew house? You have a 30-barrel brew house now, or are you switching to a 30-barrel? Or
30-barrel brew house now and switching to a 30-barrel brew house.
okay,
So the difference between the two is this Alpha Brewing Operations, great company. We have like serial number 2 on their brew house. So there are some things that they've improved, and so they've come out here and said, okay, we need to help you guys out with this. So they cut us a good deal, and we were able to get a new brew house, and they're going to buy the old one back.
Awesome.
So the mash tank is, the flat, wider, and the boil kettle is bigger, 45 barrel flood volume. So that'll help out a lot. More yields. I mean, everything will be better. So the quality will go up for sure.
So you didn't beat up on the old brew house too much?
No.
They're taking it back?
They're going to, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to resell it. So
There you go.
They're going to resell it to us, Bob, for twice.
Yeah.
Twice the price.
We'll sign
And we'll
it.
be
Well, I
like,
need to
cool,
go-
serial number 2. It's the original.
I need to get a little bigger than a 1 barrel.
Yeah, you do. You do.
So one more thing I want to ask before I let you guys go. One thing that's cool about coming here is I feel like there's a new piece of artwork or a new piece of it was modified ice cream truck or something, and there's a new trailer out there that looks like it came from a roadside carnival that I imagine is going to somehow coolly dispense beer. So what is that aspect of your tap room and do that? I mean, do you have a guy that welds for you? Is it just kind of like you guys finding old stuff and kind of modifying it and be like, I think we can turn this into a kegerator. I think we can turn this into a dispenser. Where does that kind of come from?
Yeah. Pretty much
We can
all
serve
all of the
we can
above.
serve beer out of that. We can serve beer out of that.
Well, it's neat because this is our man cave, and we just kind of throw in here whatever we want to throw in. And I think if you look around this place, the only thing that is not us is that vintage trailer over there, which is my wife's, but it fits, So but it's all just things that we've all seen, that we've put in, strategically placed. And then taking it to the next level, like over the stage, we have a fish. It was not just, it's not your normal fish now. Now it's a
mascot.
Yeah, it's a
Tupps
wacky
fish.
fish with a logo on it. So everywhere around here there's something weird and something different, and we'll definitely double down on that as we move forward. Because talk about the trailer. That trailer actually was one of our employees' father's trailer that he had just dumped in his yard, and it was a trailer that was off a narrow gauge railroad. So we put regular wheels on it, axles, and we pull it behind our 48 Dodge rusty truck. And we can serve 8 taps out of that side of that thing.
Oh, wow.
So, we'll do more stuff, more crazy stuff.
What's the next big taproom event?
We're booked private parties all through the end of the year. It's crazy. One of the things that we absolutely love is Meat Fight. We're going to do that again in the spring. And the Meat Fight crazy people will come out here. Our crawfish boil is always a huge hit, so we do that. And we're going to do more and more. And I think there are opportunities in here to do more from an entertainment standpoint. So I would say look for more music here. That is a go-to spot. We've had a couple artists that have played here that have packed the place, and so we know that the potential is there with the right artists. We just got to crack the code on how we book them and bring them in. But I think that's a key opportunity, and then different food. I think as we roll into 2019 and 2020.
So you guys have live music here pretty much every weekend. If you're not
Every
booked
Saturday.
up, every Saturday you have live music. Open from 11 to 11-ish kind of thing. Open up all day. Open Thursday and Friday nights as well.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Wednesday,
Sunday.
Thursday, Friday nights, and then Sunday mornings.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So cool. Well, awesome. Well, I'm assuming you have the Cowboy game on now that they've won a few games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there. Yeah.
Always
Just
have.
a few.
Yeah.
Now that they won a few, that's good. So, well, cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. If you come to Harvest, we've got the Tupps DDH in a can. Certainly would like to give my hands on some barrel-aged Iron Root large format bottles when those come out. Just saying.
Yeah, same here. Just
No
saying.
big deal.
We'll
Those
say
are the
that.
restaurants. So
No pressure.
we have the Tupps DDH and we have the Tupps IPA, and then of course we'll be serving our own beer. We have the Red River Rye on and the Farmer's Daughter Honey Blonde Ale as well. Cool. Cheers.
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 Thanks,
Nice
guys.
having you guys.
Tink.